away when you're ready. We'll get a mic to you. Austin and Brent.
Obviously, Ethan's the old man in the room now after many years, but you got just a lot of new faces in there. What do you see now with Luke Wolf? What do you see now with Trent Thomas this spring?
Yeah, really impressed with the new guys. Obviously, Trent played football for 2 years, and it's not his first rodeo, so he kind of understands what it looks like and done nothing but just put his head down and grind. And Luke, with him coming from NFL Academy, there was, 4 years ago when we took Emmanuel Okoye, where Emmanuel started was a radically different place than where Lucas started. And just the amount that program's improved and what they've been able to get done over the last 4 years, without bragging on him, without crowning him too early, through the first block of practices, he operated as good as anybody we've ever had in that first spring. Now, hit a little bit of the freshman wall, and that's to be expected. Things get sped up a little bit, new stuff gets thrown at you, but really both those guys have attacked it and been awesome adds to the room.
You got a room that's, I guess, when you look at Ethan and you look at Deshaun, that were more high school wide receivers trying to become tight ends. Obviously, Ethan's been here for a while. How would you rate the physicality of that room through spring practice?
Yeah, I think, it's been good. I think Ethan in particular, man, like if there was any question about him in the core going into a year ago, there's zero doubt in my mind now. And really cool to see guys that come in at that spot and develop over the time that they've been here, not just technique fundamentals, but mentality, embracing it, enjoying it. Do think there's still meat on the bone for the whole unit for sure, and I think we'll get there, but it's, they don't feel like a bunch of receivers every day,
What about Deshaun specifically? How far has he come
Yeah,
in that role?
man, same deal, bunch of steps. And I think similar path to Ethan. He probably started a little bit ahead in the box just because he'd done some of that stuff in high school. It's a constant blend between technique fundamentals and having your arousal level right. And I think what happens with guys is arousal level will be great, technique goes out the window, and then, man, they're focused on their technique and they're not quite turned on as much as they need to be. And there's a little bit back and forth with that every day where guys are focusing on something fundamental and maybe lose a gear of how hard and how physical they need to play. But overall, man, he's taken a bunch of steps this spring, and we'll need him to continue to do that.
Patrick and Ryan.
I'm kind of following up on Hassan. What goes into that mindset of, all those guys want to catch the football, but in this offense, you guys have got to, tight ends have got to block and execute there. What goes into the mindset part? Kind of you touched on, of having the mentality to be physical and want to do that part of the job.
I think a couple things go into it. One, they understand that to play at the next level, if you're truly a one-trick pony, there's limited spots and there's limited opportunities, and the lifespan of those guys at the next level is smaller than what it is if you can do more. Flip side of it too, for guys, not to make it a Masters Week joke, but with golf, when you hit it off the heel, you hit it off the toe, it don't feel real great, but when you flush one, it feels different. And I think it's the same thing with the contact, that when you really do strike somebody the way you're supposed to, that feeling becomes something that you chase and something that becomes one that you want to get after again and again, and understanding, man, they're not always going to be perfect hits, but it's contagious for the group that when one guy sets a tone and plays hard and plays physical, the other guys see that, want it. And then once they try it and once they feel it right, it's like, oh, this is fun. I should be enjoying this.
What did you see from Trent Thomas in the portal that you wanted to bring him into the room?
Yeah, man, I turned on the Auburn game and the dude dominated the C gap. And just with what was in the room already, what was coming back, knew that for us to be successful, first and foremost needed a guy that felt really good about in that area. And man, absolutely, he's got the tightest hands coming out that we've had and does a really good job in that area. I do think in the route, man, he's continued to develop and get better. And but no, I just turned on the Auburn game, watched the tape, and said, does this guy help us win? And the answer was absolutely.
What kind of spring have you seen from Cole Harrison? This is I guess his second full year in the program. He's had some injuries, but how's he coming along?
Coming along really well. I'm excited for Cole just because this has been his first off season where he's been healthy and had a true winter block to get work and get physically ready to do it. Mentally, man, he's playing more confident. There's still a ton of things to clean up, and I think he'd be the first one to tell you that the confidence piece of it, like talk about it being earned all the time. You don't just roll out of bed confident with a lot of these things. He's earned the right to be confident, and time to start continuing to play with more of it,
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.